Hello, footies, and welcome back to Foot in Review, episode 645. We are recording this on Friday night, the 6th of December. My name is John, and I'll be your host today. And if you are looking and listening to this show, you might notice a slight change on tonight's schedule. We have had some technical issues, but luckily we have about a billion backups these days, which means my dear friend Chris, which you will see and listen to shortly, is recording through an iPad and all kinds of workarounds. But hey, we got it working. And if you are missing the legendary Envy tonight, he can't make it because of some private issues, but hopefully he'll be back shortly. And we wish you all the best. That out of the way. How are you doing, Mr. Chris McIntosh?
John, I am amazing. I am sitting here in smug corner after the weekend league change. I cannot believe it. I predicted it. Call me Mystic Meg. I told you guys it's going to change. It's a disaster. So as I say, I'm sitting here in smug corner. We may actually have our own Verstappen versus George Russell on the show tonight.
Well, let's not go there because the one is still world champion and the other one has won less races than the other one world championship titles. But let's not go there, shall we?
No, and I think, to be fair, John, if we were to do sim racing, you would certainly be the world champion.
Well, I'd at least beat you. Let's put it like this. Did I tell you I got my first podium today? But that's a different story.
Oh, well done, mate. Well
keep
done.
that for another podcast, shall we?
No, you did great. Congratulations, mate. I've seen your rig. It's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Cheers. More on that soon on the different channels we do. Chris, you said about weekend league changes. Yes, they changed weekend league to qualifiers mostly, right?
Yes.
That's it. So that means we basically went from 40, you need to win 60%, that you need to win 50%.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So they've made it a lot easier for people. And to be fair, I did it not this weekend, but last weekend I did it. Went 3-0 in the qualifiers, first time ever. Very surprised at that, and gave my next three away. So that's one of the benefits.
3-0 would have got you qualified the last time as well, right?
Yeah, I know you're going to try and stick up for the 60% club, but I'm sorry, we are 50-50 guys here, and we'd like it to be 40-60 if I'm being honest with you. But no, I gave my 3 games away, so congrats. Hopefully those guys appreciated it, and they could potentially give their 3 games away as well. So I haven't entered into the wild world of weekend league or champs now, so I don't know what to expect this weekend if I do play games. I think it will be, the way the rivals are going, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for me.
Well, let's see. I mean, I like the change. It's fine. I was afraid they would go back to like 8 matches or something, or 10 matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is it's a good change for me. I mean, you said smoke corner. I think them trying something and tuning that into a slightly different way, I think that's fine. And actually, that this week has shown that no, actually, EA is listening to feedback. I'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, we we'll discuss that in the coming section. Because Chris, first things first. We always start the Friday show talking about our week in foot.
This week in Football Ultimate Team.
And that's why we have these fancy buttons set up. Chris, this week in foot, if you would rate this week from a 1 to a 10, 1 being god awful, 10 being extremely fun and good, what will be your rating for this week, and what's your absolute highlight or your worst nightmare that came out this week?
I think if you'd asked me up to Wednesday night, you'd have got probably an 8. And then if you asked me on Thursday, you would probably get a 2.
Whoa, what happened there?
Because I played my games rivals, got my maximum wins, got that. Yep, thank you very much. Wanted to get one of those Mode Master players. And then I played 5 games of rivals last night, so I wanted to finish the Thunder Daily Play Challenge. I didn't actually win a game. I lost 4 games and drew 1. And the standard of player was far better than what I have come across in my mighty Division 5 that I'm in, which I have not actually moved from the starting point in the whole week. So I've won a game, maybe won 2, and then lost 3 again. So I've read, and maybe you can confirm this, John, you're pretty good this way, that matchmaking is broken. Is that the case, or is it just sandbaggers, do you think?
No, I don't think it's either of those. options. So we are very close to the week reset, right? Or we are very close to the new start of the season. I said that wrong. We just started a new season. That's how I should say it. For me, I had a hellish week last week, and I started playing this week, and that means I started playing. That sounds so arrogant, but below my level. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an absolutely lovely time just getting 15 wins out of like 18 matches or something. Or it was like very easy. I think I lost 1 or 2 on the way. But that, of course, is a bit skewed because that won't happen this week when I'm in a proper division. And the other thing is, and people seem to forget that local matchmaking is extremely important. So the location where your base is very important. And I do think there's many people putting their crossplay off because they are afraid of facing a PC cheater. And there's many people that have local matchmaking on because that gives the best performance during matchmaking, like during a match. So what happens if you narrow down the base enough and you're in a division that's very narrow, you might just end up playing players that are closer to you but are 1 or 2 divisions up, or the other way around, 1 or 2 divisions down. And I think the players that are in lower divisions, and I don't want to let's say everyone that's around division 5, I think, could easily face players around level 3 once they've put the local matchmaking on, which is default on, and I think you should keep it on. But I think turning crossplay off might actually help. Is a big difference as well. So I think what we're seeing is a combination of those matchmaking factors and the fact it is early season. I don't think it's actually broken. And I've seen people saying, I'm in Div 2 and I'm facing a player, elite player or Division 1 player. And I think, yeah, but that's if he also says the other one is on the other side of the world, then I'd say it's probably broken. But I think that player is probably very close to you if you ask him. So I think it's fine, and I feel bad for the players that face me because they probably think matchmaking is broken as well. But that wasn't the case either. So I don't think that's actually the case.
So how was your week then, John? So my week was first 3 days brilliant, and yesterday really bad. Not played tonight. How's your week been?
I think it's been a fantastic week. A proper. I'm just gonna say I think it's a 9 out of 10,
Oh,
and
right.
not even.
Okay.
And there's a couple of them. I think the promotion started off really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact you can upgrade players or upgrade packs back, you get 82 times 14 was awesome. I think the player picks has been great. In the last part of the week, it was tuned down a little bit. Like you can't no 82 times 14 yesterday, for example, I think, and some of the player picks were getting less. Right, but rewards were fine. I think. Sure, I packed some players, but the fact that you can always pack players, there's so many players in pack, and it seems the odds were a little bit higher. The fact you can use new players, the fact you can grind out the game, and this is my first topic, which I also want to discuss. The fact we get a pitch notes, which they call First Frost Update, which starts with welcome to this new update. With this update, we're looking to address community feedback around most areas of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they were listening to us and now suddenly come out with a community feedback pitch notes with some changes and already applied those changes. Plus, also, they gave Jimenez a proper play phase, which also is a bonus point for me. I think that's really good. Are all these changes well implemented or noticeable? I think that's something to be discussed, right? But the fact that there's so much on this list, which we're all been complaining about, also been criticizing on this podcast, and they're just being transparent about what they are working on as well. Not even only the things they fix it, they did work on, but it also shows we are preparing for these changes or we're looking into these changes next, which is all I've been asking for the last years or years even. So that gives me, so I think a bonus point for the promotion itself. I think that makes this next week a bit harder when we talk about content, but also the fact that they had this communication being opened now. I can only applaud that, and yeah, if they do well, I think I should say that as well.
No, of course you should, John. I think, to be fair, the promotion we just had, the Thunderstruck one, Black Friday, Icons, I think it was very much like a team that high presses for the start of the game. They seemed to run out of steam in the last 15 minutes of the game. Because the promo started with a bang, started last Friday, so I couldn't join. And the guys and I think when the guys got to the Tuesday Club, I think they felt a little bit let down, I think, was that the feeling. If we'd done a show on the Monday night, I think it'd have been a far more positive show than what the guys had on Tuesday. I think they just ran out of steam a little bit. I think this promo could have maybe been shortened. I mean, the 82 times 14 or something like that packs that was there 3 times, that was brilliant. But you were packing the same players all the time. Our Discord, there was a few good pulls in there. And I get what the guys were saying. Last year I remember I got, I think, Toto and I got De Jong thunderstruck. Have I got one of those players in my team who's in the promo who's going to stay? No, there's none in there. There's not one thunderstruck player in there, bar the one I bought, which was the Norwegian Chelsea left winger. She's pretty good. But I don't know about you, John, just before, as we say goodbye to Thunderstruck and say hello to Succession, was it a success for you?
Yeah, definitely. And I said this last week. There are a couple of players which people, I don't know, seem to skip over, but I think are definitely worth trying. And I've put my money where my mouth is, actually. To start off, I packed the Son card, right? The Son. So no complaints there. It's a brilliant player. I'm just going to give some player reviews as well. I'm added here as well. I packed the Rush card, the Thunderstruck Rush, which I don't even know how much he is currently. Yeah, 40K?
Yeah,
Something like
something
that.
like that was, we checked.
Yeah. So I've been using him and I've been saving a lot of clips from this card. He now played 25 games for me in Rivals only with 24 goals and 11 assists. I really like the card. Another card I absolutely adore is the Gattuso card now. I think I bought that card and then a couple of days later I actually packed him from one of those 80 times 14. Lovely card. I packed the Fury card. Is 10K or something he was. I didn't even sell him. Tried him a couple of times. Really enjoyed that one as well. And I packed base Gerard, which of course not really complaining. It's 2.5K card, something like that. But my midfield is a bit packed currently, so can't really squeeze him in. Brilliant card.
Yeah.
50,000 coins to do. Perfect. Even if you just keep him on the sub, I've also played him until I packed Rush, of course. I really like that as well. And I packed the Barnes Thunderstruck card, I think, which also been working great. But of course, he's not going to replace, but generally speaking, pretty good. So no, I've been enjoying it. I'm quite enjoy these cards I've got. And I think it's definitely worth giving some lower costing cards a run just to see how they do. Because am I enjoying these icons that came in these packs? Right? It's and if people skip over them because they don't have 99 pace, I think it's more their loss than anything else.
I mean, just on that, John, as the promo's leaving, the Saka card and the Saliba card for Arsenal, I see that they're going to get upgraded. Have you changed your mind at all on the SBC? The Saka card is 789,000. I don't know what upgrades he's going to get. I don't think he has been at this moment upgraded. I can't see it. I'm looking at the comments on Footbin and some of them are absolutely disgusting. I won't read them out, but I don't know if that's been upgraded. If that card, gets the upgrade, what do you think?
No, I think I said that card is actually a good do, right? Not a bad card at all. I think he's a little bit expensive, but even with an upgrade, I think he's still a little bit on the more expensive card side. But I don't think that's a bad card at all. And if you have him, well, good for you. And I'm glad he's getting upgraded. Pretty good card, right?
Yeah, no, it looks a great card. It does.
But I think the issue with all these very expensive cards is just the fact that I think it's a big risk seeing how many promo cards come out. And I have to say something though, because we got a comment on Spotify, and I'll check out who it is though. But I said on Desi, for example, as well, the SBC, I think he is too expensive for center. You don't put 1,000,000 coins in a center defender at this stage of the game. Is what I said. Well, I said he's a good card. So I'm not saying he's a shouldn't do, but if we did name the podcast, this icon is not worth it. We got a lot of comments about that. And I just want to say to Scotty replied in Spotify, so you can just leave a comment on Spotify. And he said, I disagree. Desi is well worth it. Gobbles everything up. It's just an absolute beast if you actually manual defend. Well, I, for one, you've seen me play multiple tournaments. I defend manually for sure, but I already have pretty good center defenders. So for me, looking at Virgil van Dijk being 140,000 coins currently, I said there's no 800,000 coin difference between these players. That's what was heard. But I'm not saying Gessi's bad card, but that's what I'm saying. These SBCs sometimes are too expensive.
I'd like to also add, and maybe Scotty can leave another comment, is I used Desai, I think, last year, and I found him a tad clunky. So it'd be interesting to know how Scotty feels about him if he is a little bit clunky for turning and etc. So Scotty, please leave another comment. Let us know. It's well worth letting us know about you think of that card. From my point of view, that's the reason why I didn't do it. He's a big, tall, strong centre back. I just found him a little bit clunky. But Scotty, please let us know in the chat.
Yeah, I think I said I'd rather spend them on an attacker that makes a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely.
Although I'm still looking at maybe doing Zanetti, but hey, that's a different story.
But John, just as you were talking about the patch notes, and it would be wrong of me as a very average player and all our listeners out there to ask you about the two new roles that have been created. The classic number 10 for the cam position, which is a traditional attacking midfielder who is the main hook of the attacking play. And this is a weird one for me. The wide half for CDM position, a defensive player who covers the sides of the pitch and can help in build-up play.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. Normally when you have, for example, a 4-3-2, the cams are wide out, the center defense midfielders keep in and make a block of 6. But the problem is you can't really use your fullbacks to come over because it always leaves gaps. This sort of fixes that if you have a CDM and put them on wide half now instead of both CDMs on holding, you could send one of those other fullbacks that's behind them to go forward, and he sort of fixes in that slots into that gap, which could be a reason to try, for example, 4-2-2. But more importantly, I think it could mean that a 3-5-2 is actually viable on a high level now.
Right, okay.
The next thing I will be trying. So I quite like these changes. And the classic 10 is exactly, I think Archie and myself spoke about a couple of special podcasts ago, that I like the fact we have the Shadow Striker cam, but I want a cam that's a little bit more deeper, but not as deep as center midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what we said for the 4-3-3, the Dutch number 10, you can't really do it. Well, maybe we can now. I don't have a player that actually has that, especially not as a plus role yet. But
So from my point of view, John, I'm looking at it and I've got Playmaker on Bellingham, and I was a wee bit disappointed, I'll be honest with you, that some of the new cards, well, the old cards weren't updated with the classic 10 for a cam. It would have been nice if they'd actually maybe picked one or two players and added them on. You know, I just checked my Bellingham card. He's not been upgraded, so I doubt very much as many other ones. From my point of view, though, how would you use that classic number 10? I play with two strikers, one kind of forward role, and then one is a poacher. So, you know, I use Havertz as a advanced forward, and I use Adama as a kind of poacher role, which I know he's not a plus that, but I just like the fact he's strong and powerful for there. So how would I, as someone who uses a 2 up top, be able to use the classic number 10?
Well, maybe put it like if you play a 4-1, 2-1-2, then he could be a classic 10, could be the Lincoln pin there.
Right.
Or if you have it doesn't work in a 4-4-2 or anything like that, but you could make a 4-3-3 with the Ford system. So the one with the cam could actually fit in really nicely there. I think that's basically what you want to do. Give him the ball, pass around, go to wide, open up, and he's at the box to get the ball played back to him. So I think in 4-3-3s, that classic 10 could really work, and I think in a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, it could really work as well. And I think in a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow is one of those formation which I am very inclined to try soon, because I think it's way too narrow now, because you can't really set the width anymore in your new setups, of course. But if you have a wide half CDM that sort of covers the width a little bit more on defense, and you have like an overlapping fullback, and you have a classic 10 on cam, that formation could actually be worth trying now.
Right, okay.
So that's like 3-5-2 and the 4-1-2-2 narrow, or two formations which I think have potential, let's put it like this, to be viable furthermore. And I think both are usable, but if you came on high level, you did get a little bit exploited. It was exploitable. Hopefully this could fix it. I like the fact that they made whole new focus as well on these roles, right?
Mhm.
So we could build up for more positions. We got the aggressive on center backs now, the one who really likes the ball winning on holding midfielders, which is pretty awesome. We Gattuso, hello, and I think I'm not going to name them all, but the fact you could do build up, for example, on a playmaker cam now
Yes.
could also really be beneficial. So I'm looking forward to see how that actually goes. I like the fact they kept tuning it now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just before we leave this, John, and I know you've been busy this week with real work, as you could say. Did you happen to
Well,
catch the Pro League at all? The games?
yes, but the problem with that is it came so close to the fact they changed all this that
But
I don't think it's really representable on how it will look in 2 weeks or so.
no, I just wondered from a coach's point of view, did you spot anything that you found surprising in what the guys were doing at that level?
No, I think what you see there is the player locks still being very much used. Think that's still good, but you see the same things. You see corners are really strong.
Mm-hmm.
A free kick is basically a goal,
Yes.
which is one of the most frustrating things, and I don't see that in the pitch notes for me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just even if you just say, okay, you know what, goal kicks, free kicks, corner kicks, you only have 6 seconds to actually kick the ball, or it will just default to a kick, for
Yes.
example, would solve a lot of these issues because you just have too much time to put everything in the right spot. Maybe they could fix something like that. But you see the first time lob through ball, the first time the power shot, these kept being used, right? And I think it's good that they will change that. But that's like I said, I don't think in 4 weeks from now that would be used again because that's definitely something they're not looking into.
And do you think they'll nerf the power shot? It does seem pretty over.
No, I think the power shot's fine. The fact you can do it first time and just is unstoppable. I think that's more of the issue. Because the normal power shot isn't too bad. Normal power shot, I think, is just pretty balanced. Because if you get a player in front of it, it's fine. If you move your goalkeeper, they actually stop it now. The fact you can do it by doing it without touching the ball, like play the ball on the side and then do the power shot, you can't, like most of the people aren't good enough to switch to a center defender that gets in the way of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be powered down, I think. Everything else, when you do it from no scope or you do it first touch, it's less accurate. If that does make it less accurate, I think you can solve that issue as well. But power shot itself, I think, is in a good place.
Okay. No, good, good, good. You know, I read through the notes, John. I have to say, I am enjoying the game. I did find it difficult last night, but again, that could just be me. I know
It's also Thursdays.
yeah,
Thursdays are worse.
Thursday. Thursday's not a fun day anymore. And also the fact is that they've moved rush from 7 minutes to 5, and hopefully, you know, the improving island detection and ultimate team.
Works lots better, I think.
Yeah, I've not used it yet, but hopefully, you know, that will make a difference to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably link the page notes into the show notes, just so everyone could read it. But the fact, like the rush gets tuned down, and the fact you can't really idle along, and I think they also said we are looking into how to tune it even more. But that's good because I've not touched rush for the last 6 weeks. I've just not,
Mm-hmm.
just didn't. I'm not playing anymore. And what happened to me is I started a game and 7 out of 8 people just
Yeah, it's
put away the
so
controllers, and I'm
annoying,
like,
John, isn't
I'm
it?
not doing this anymore. I tried Russian clubs, exactly the same. But all I'm asking though, this is just maybe let's not stop with being critical. If they can find a way to make clubs and rush less like people being idle to get them disconnected or giving them a warning and cut them off, why can't we have that in the normal matchmaking when we just play 1-on-1?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If
Yeah,
people put the controller away, they should see it's idle as well. They should just give you a win. I think if you have now the technique to do it on these smaller modes, you should be able to do it in regular
yeah,
matchmaking as well.
definitely.
So I'd like to see that change as well. But it's good. It's what we asked for, right?
No, of course it is. I think to be fair, John, I've been hypercritical of EA. Pleased that they've done the weekend league. It's a shame they didn't do it from the start, but they look like they're.
That's just one game difference as well, right? I
Aye,
mean,
no, but
tuning is fine.
no, I think to be fair, that you know you have to be positive when it's due, and fair play to EA. I think they've looked at it and they've went, "What's the big problems?" Rush's the big problem. The length of the games is far too long. 7 minutes is far too long. It could be 3 minutes. If I'm being honest with you, you know it's meant to be a quick, fun mode.
I'd say 3 minutes, or let's make it 4 minutes like squad battles. And if there's 5 goal difference, the game's over.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. from that point of view. No, I would say a wee thumbs up there for EA. Not like me, but well done, EA.
Whoa, should screen cap that one. We got a promotion as well, Chris.
Yeah,
New
I'm just
promotion.
wondering if they can make a success of Succession, to be honest with you, John.
So what's this promotion all about?
So it's a brand new for FC5. I'm reading the EA note, so that's why I've called it FC25. Ultimate Succession celebrates football succession stories. All clubs and countries have icons, heroes, and players that have captured the hearts of thousands, but only some consistently achieve greatness across multiple eras of football. Ultimate Succession is a nod to those decade after decade develop incredible talent that helps spur them onto football's most illustrious prizes. There are clubs and nations where younger players took over the mantle as established stars began to hang up their boots. Across the Ultimate Team there will be some significant content additions. These programs will continue with Ultimate Succession. Be sure to check out the Mode Mastery players and the new Winter Champions editions for this week. So there's a lot of players, John, that have come
There's
out.
a lot of talks there, but basically it's just we toss in every single player
Yeah, I think
and
so.
their talents.
I mean,
I don't see any Dutch player or Eredivisie player here, which is usually a good influx of talent throughout the bigger club. So I'm
I
a
think,
little bit confused about this explanation. And then they put in Messi because he used to be a talent. I have no idea what this
well, what I
promotion
will say
sort of
is
means.
if you look at the picture they've got, so you've got Ronaldinho, 94 rated. I know we don't talk about high rated players. I think he's 14 million. Messi, who followed on from Ronaldinho, and then you have Lamine Yamal, who's followed on from Messi.
Is that how it should be implemented?
That's kind of what they've said, I think. So you have Baresi, then Maldini, then you have Lam and Kimmich, which makes sense. You know, that does make sense. Pichon and Le Sommer, which I would agree probably. Rui Costa Kaka, getting a bit ropey now.
A bit just
Bon
same
Pastor
air.
and Basha, so there's your left backs. And then you have Endo. Well, you have Steven Gerrard, then Endo for Liverpool. Well, I think he's actually, to be fair to him, he's Yoshida. He's replaced him. There is some ropey ones, John, in there. And then if I look down, and somebody's going to correct me, you have Marquinhos. I'm not quite sure who he succeeds. Del Piero, see succession there. And then Jorginho and Tornali. Well, I would bet that Tonali card would be a good card, but that would be a bad pun saying that about Tonali betting as well.
Yeah, and let's not go into Yoshida, Lodero, Berkey, etc.
No, there's just, but the problem is, John, if we, as we've said, we won't talk about, and I know some people are a bit annoyed with us, but we won't talk about the high rated cards. But if we don't talk about the high rated cards, there's not much that's in that middle ground for these players. It feels.
No, so I think last week we had a couple of outstanding players which were cheap. This week I think we have a lot of cheap players that are meh.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that might be the problem. I mean, I'm just going to quickly read out the numbers. So, Messi at 4.2 million, Marquinhos 90 rated at 442. Excuse me, might be decent. The Basha card, John. I mean, I'd love to get your take on that. She's 200k.
I think Pasha 200k should be fine, right? For the 3-star rules, let me look at the rules. Attacking wingback plus plus, and left winger, white playmaker plus plus, so pretty versatile. With pass, dead ball, yeah, technically interception, relentless, which is always good, quick step and anticipate. Looks like a really good card in my honest opinion. Yeah, 200k sounds like good, decent price actually.
Yeah, and then John, another one to look at to get your take on is the Turam card, which a lot of people have. Is
Why you rate him
85 rated one. It looks like he's extinct, doesn't he? At that
he
price.
is, yes.
In your opinion, what do you think about that card?
Well, we know the other one is really strong. The play of the month card and very much usable, very used. 4-star, 4-star. You went from advanced forward plus plus and a false 9 plus plus. So he got some rules changed as well, I think.
Yes.
But this card is good. Has proven to be good. Has proven to be a menace. And I think this upgrades has all the upgrades in the right places. So he's way faster. Actually, 5 difference on acceleration. And I think, not mistaken, it's always hard to see a little bit, that the physicals become even better. Yeah. Really cool card, actually. But I don't know, Extinct is currently how much? 150,000.
Yes.
Pretty steep. pretty steep, though, maybe. But on the other side, we know how strong this card can be, right?
Yeah. And I know that all things are relative, and I get that. So we'd probably say that there's a high rated card. I'd probably say Kimmich at 400k is middle of the road. And then, if my old eyes don't deceive me, you've got, as I say, the Bash card at 195. Then every other card is under 40k.
Yeah, and that's what you see when you have these cards. Is the total price of this whole squad is about 6.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
4.2 is already for Messi. So it leaves it about 3 million for all the other players. Thuram is 750, so that's 2 and a bit over. You get Basha, so you have 2 million for every other player in total. So, yeah, Akanji, of course, looks pretty decent as well. Can use him right back as well this time around, and he's about 90k. That's one of the cards which I think could be really cool checking out. Stopper plus plus as well on center defender. Yeah, but no playstyle plus, I think, either. So
No.
I think, yeah. And the problem was it's going to be hard to follow up on the promos last week,
Yeah.
but not necessarily because of the cards, Chris. I think the biggest issue so far with the like you have a hero team, you have, and we're not going to go into depth of all. You got a hero team, you got a regular team, and you got an icon team, right? This week. The problem is I don't have any upgrades. How can I grind towards them?
No, I understand that. I mean, I think it's unfair if we didn't speak about the icons. I think there's two that we could probably, two or three we could maybe just quickly run through, John. If I'm looking at Philip Lam, the Philip Lam card, 430,000, as I say, I feel that's probably, again, you could be sitting with millions of pounds like a dragon, or you could be sitting with a few 100,000. That card is probably achievable. 90 rated. I think you guys had talked, or the guys had talked about what kind of rating on a card are you looking at. I think you're looking in the 90s now for any card you're probably going to spend money on. So that
I don't
card,
know, right? I don't still think ratings really matter, right?
mm-hmm.
How much is the rush card?
Yeah, 40k.
And how much? What was rating again? I don't even know.
I think it was.
88 or something. I think rating. The thing is, Chris, I still am for very much a believer in the fact that the rating is just to influence the probability of packing the card, not necessarily how good a card is.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now, since rules actually mean much more. Um, we know if your rules plus plus gets actually is very much better than actually. Of course, you still have chemistry styles. So I think rating just means the likeliness of packing card.
Okay. So on that note, then, John, if you look at the Pichon card, if someone's going to go, I don't know, she's 5'4", she's 4'4", not expensive. Is there anything from a coach's point of view, John, that you look at that card and go, yeah, I think she's maybe a decent price at 225,000?
Yeah, so she's got technical plus, which is also really cool with finesse and first touch, right? Trivella normally acrobatic. I think she's a pretty cool card. I use the normal, the 88 rated strike card on her. Quite like the fact that she's. I like the short and lean players to have one of them on top.
Mm-hmm.
I really dig that card. And she's got 93 finishing, 92 attacking position, 87 composure with 90 dribbling. This is one of those fast players that if you give the ball and you can dribble a little bit, could be really strong. I really like this card. Of course, French as well. But I already like the 88 rated card, and that's not being used either. I think the 88 is rated
Mm-hmm.
is currently 75,000. This one is even this much better. So, I think that's one of the cards you could pick up and not regret.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of, I know we've talked about the heroes. I mean, I'm not sure there is really any there. Maybe Bomb Pastor would be an interesting one. Rukos is always decent, but the Bomb Pastor card's been a good card, certainly last year, I think, when she was
Yeah, I
introduced.
used the regular Bombaster this week. It's still my team.
I mean, that card looks decent. The SPCs, though, I was going to mention them, John. There's one out there, like Tom Madonna. He's scoring loads of goals.
McTominay, what now?
Yeah, the SPC for Scott McTominay, scoring loads of goals in Napoli. Scored again there at the weekend in a 1-0 victory, and could be pushing them towards the Scudetto. 55,000 he is. If you have the coins, John, or the fodder. Would
Yeah,
you be interested in that card?
I think even having one of those, like having a Scottish player in your like around in your club somewhere,
Mhm.
could be nice to have later on as well. So probably able to get some evos on him with an 86 rated later on too. Not sure if there's any yet, but it's actually really it looks a really decent card. Like Gullet, Gang, center defense midfielder. Yeah, he's got also, I think, yeah, he's got the white half plus on the CDM now as well, and holding plus plus. So he's versatile. If I am not mistaken, quickly check. He's got intercept plus on as well. Yeah. So I think if this is one of your center defensive midfielder in, like for example, 3-5-2 or the 4-2-2, versatility is there. He's good. He's aggressive. Um, and honestly, 55k. Just keep bringing these SPCs out, right?
Yeah, I mean
Perfect.
he is 6'4". He's tall and normal, and as you say, he's got that new role as well. So yeah, I think it looks a really good card, that one, for if you have the
People
fodder.
would say he's probably a little bit too slow, but I don't think that matters too much.
But if you were to compare him then with the Tonali card, I know we jest at him, but he is 88 rated and 760k. Good league though, good nation, Italy, and also the Prem. Is there a 700,000 coin difference between those two? I know I'm trying to see what roles he's got. He's got a centre half and a wide half for CDM, and also a deep line playmaker. So he's got slightly more versatility and can play CM deep line playmaker as well. But quite a lot of coins for your buck there for that player compared to McTominay.
Yeah, although Tonali has much better passing, generally speaking. He's a little bit more agile, but that's not too much of a difference. Composure is higher though. I think Tonali, generally speaking, has better stats in the right places. And I think Tonali has something else, but I just can't click it now. I think the biggest difference is the playstyles, but somehow it's not working for me anymore now. So I'll check that once we're discussing it now, Chris. But generally speaking, Premier League tax helps as well.
Yeah.
It's easier to link usually. But I think Tonali has the deep lying playmaker plus plus on center midfielder as well, which is something I don't think we've seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something incisive plus plus intercept bruiser. I think Tonali is the better player, and he's of course way faster. He's got 86 acceleration and 90 sprint speed. Although I don't think it matters not too much on the center defensive midfielder. It definitely matters if you play him center midfielder. So I don't really think these are comparable. Tonali is by far the better player. Nevertheless, I think McTominay is a very good value SBC. I'm almost inclined to say he's a must-do, just because you never know when you need a Scottish player in your team.
You always need a Scottish player on the podcast.
Yeah, at least to get the drinks.
And then just, John, will we talk about a hooligan card that is free? Is that okay?
It sounds reasonable, eh?
Yeah. Mr. Reliable, a man who you'd like to date your daughter. He is very bland, very quiet, a real gentleman, I think, in real life, is James Milner, playing for Brighton, being a real stalwart of the Prem from his early days when he started off as a very young player. My eyesight is not too bad. I think he has 80 rated stats for all of them. And he is a free card, John,
How's your free, Chris?
because it's through objectives.
I've learned nothing in life is free.
So,
Except this podcast, actually. And
yeah,
that's
to be fair, this podcast is free. You know what also is free, John? Our Discord, our wonderful Discord is free to people as well. So if anybody's thinking that James Milner's great value, wait till you join the Discord to see what value you get there. Absolutely amazing. And for those that can afford it, and we would appreciate it, if you join our Patreon, you get the wonderful Art of Foot, which I'm sure you're going to discuss, those new roles, John. The
for
new
sure, yeah.
formations, how that's opened up as well. So a wonderful experience for people as well. If they want to improve on their game, certainly join the Patreon and check out Art of Foot, because I'm sure in the next episode, no pressure to Art and yourself, John, we'll talk about these new roles for sure.
Yeah, I'm good with pressure. That's all right. For reals, though, Milner, that's cool, eh?
Yeah, I think it's a cool card. I mean, as you say, rating doesn't matter. I know I'm a rating snob, but it looks like it's pretty easy to do. If you're playing normal games, I'll quickly run through them. I'll just try and look to see what you've got. If you win one match in any game mode to unlock the ultimate succession Steven Gerrard on a 20-game loan, so you actually get an icon for 20 games as well. Win 6 matches while having Steven Gerrard in your squad. So in any game mode as well, so you can jump into friendlies if you don't want to use the card up. Play 10 matches while having a minimum of 4 English players. An ultimate success builder in your starting squad. So there's real opportunity there. Just guys, go and look at it. Try and do that card this week. It looks a fun card. Is there anything that you can pick out on that card, John, that makes it special?
No, I think the Halfringer plus plus is cool. It's new, and I have not tried it, so I can't put any value on it yet. He doesn't have a playstyle plus, so that's a pity. But you can't really complain with 3 players that have these kinds of stats. Like 90 composure on a center midfielder, center defensive midfielder, or center midfielder. Impressive. So not fastest, but 94 shot power is pretty cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think this is a cool card. I would not play him as a right back or left back, which he can play apparently, but I don't think that's where his strengths lie. I play him as a center midfielder, as half winger, in a 4-4-2, for example.
No, definitely. I mean, it's a good fun card. I mean, we cannot complain.
Well, you usually can, honestly.
I'm struggling here, John. I'm struggling. I hold my hands up. Probably last night was down to me not playing very good FIFA and also come up against decent players. You can't complain when somebody who's better beats you. So I think this week, the promo last week, all right, it ran out of steam a little bit. Successions is a bit of a filler, but I think the content they gave us, there's definitely stuff out there that you can grind over the weekend.
Yeah. I'll talk about grinding, Chris. I've got some good news, though.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, mate. Grinding. We've made around maybe 1,000 episodes in total now, something like that. We're a Spotify partner, right? So good relationship there. And when it's Spotify time at the end of the year, everyone gets a Wrapped. So you get Spotify Wrapped, which shows you, if you listen to Spotify, these are your top shows, top podcasts, top music, top listeners. These are some fun statistics, whatever. And we get those for the creator site as well. So on the creator site, they send us a message that we are, Chris, in the top 5% of video podcasts in the world on Spotify.
Sorry, John. I thought you said 5% there. Surely this little podcast can't be one of the top 5% in the world.
That's exactly what I asked. So I asked them to send me proof, and they did. So they sent us a graphic, which I put on the screen now, saying that our show is in the top 5% of videos on Spotify. If it was top 5% of videos on YouTube, we'd be rich. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but it's still something I'm extremely proud of. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone that not only tunes into the show, but also apparently checks out the video version of it through Spotify. Of course, you can also listen on YouTube. But that's a cool statistic. That's a cool feature, which I'm really proud of. And my compliments to the whole team, of course, making this show, but also my sincere thanks to everyone tuning into this show and giving your support. So cheers for that.
No, it's amazing, John. I think you shared, to be fair, you did share a stat with us as well that we have 56% new listeners this year. So thank you to our new listeners and to our old listeners as well for sticking with us. And thanks to you, John, for driving the show.
I'm just press record, mate. I'm not doing myself these days. No, thank you. Anything you look forward to this weekend, Chris?
I'm going to possibly step into Weekend League or Foot Champs as it's called now. I love swap tokens. I'm a sucker I'm a sucker for swap tokens. As you know, I'm an absolute sucker for swap tokens. So I'm going to step in there, take my licks. If I get well beaten, then I'll get well beaten. But I'm going to try and take that chance. And then to say to people as well is, with the 3 wins only needed for out of 6 matches, if you get those 3 wins and you have some spare, I know John hates this, but please give them away because you will make somebody else's day.
I don't hate it. I just hate people getting into weekend league that would normally not make qualifications. Not because I don't appreciate them getting the chance to play in Weekend League. But
Mhm.
if the Weekend League experience is bad after they get a sort of a free pass in, and they get a extremely bad experiences because it's just not the level yet, which is fine. I think that's actually a worse introduction to Weekend League than the fact if you just deserve yourself to get in, that means you're good enough to play there, and that means your enjoyment will be better as well.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, always my Dutch directness make this sound really harsh, but I hope everyone plays Weekend League, right? I just don't like everyone to play Weekend League and not enjoying their weekend because of it. And I think if you get in there by giving, but not supposedly being there or not yet ready to be there,
Mhm.
and your weekend, so you're looking very much forward to it, and you get stomped that weekend, I think that's a worse experience to Weekend League than actually having to wait until you're good enough to get there yourself. But hey, for me, it doesn't matter. Like I can qualify. I just don't care about Weekend League, so I'm not even playing most of the times, right? But it's like I also know the stories of of course, people go to footcoaching.com and send us a message like, "Hey, could you please help? Because my first weekend experience has been awful." And then you see that they get in because of luck, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it sucks that your first experience was also awful. I mean, that's more why I said that. And that's why I'm a sort of against giving it away, because I think that helps people getting the first experience maybe not as much fun as they supposed to be.
Yeah. No, look, John, we've talked about this and we'll not bore the listeners anymore. I'm delighted it's changed.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I'm delighted it's changed.
One match difference. And I think, like I said, I don't mind. I would be far more concerned if they would say, okay, we go back to the old system. It just dropped completely. And I think it's like we experiment on thing as well. I know the first time we did, another thing we did is we said we made shorts, right? I see this the same. That means we do a show every single day. But people send us feedback. If you just log in, talk about the two SPCs that are available and just log off, it doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This is an official announcement maybe. We will still do the shorts, but we will do shorts not on set times. We will do shorts when we think there's something to discuss. That
Yes.
could be content. That could be over the weekend. I can say 99% sure that every single Monday there will be a short recorded because we skipped the weekend, got new players, weekly experiences, questions in, send in as well. But for example, Thursday so far was, hey, this is the marquee matchups. And of course, we had the team of the week yesterday, and we have one SBC tomorrow, which just doesn't make sense for us to do and doesn't make sense for people to listen to either. So all I'm saying is you try something. Sometimes it's not as you hope, or you still stick to the idea, but it just didn't work out. That's totally fine. You say what's going on here. You change it. You try something new, and that's exactly what EA did as well. That's what we're doing with the shorts now officially. It's a good thing you mentioned because I actually forgot about putting that in the notes today. Um, we'll make shorts when we think there's something to discuss. If you send in a good question, which you can do, of course, foodandreview@gmail.com or put it at foodandreview.com, put in a comment there, go to one of our socials. You find us, put it in Spotify comments, we'll find the questions. If you find a good topic that you specifically want to talk about, us to talk about outside the show, we'll make it a short, 100%. If there's content to be discussed, we'll make it a short. If there's just two SBCs, you know what? We'll talk about it tomorrow on big shows. And that's basically how we're going to do it. And that's what EA is. They said we need to win 60%. I think that's too much. They could have gone the old way, say you need to win 40%. They made it 50 to try now. Totally fine. They tried, not abandon the system, but just tuned what they're
Yeah.
doing. Perfectly fine
Yeah.
for
No,
me.
I agree. I agree, John. I agree. You know, that's the beauty of this show. We always come to a mutual consent somewhere along the line, don't we?
Yeah, well,
You know.
somewhere, yeah. Sometimes it takes
Yeah.
half a year, but hey,
Yeah. The thing is, John, I'm sure you're going to watch mutual respect come the Grand Prix between Verstappen and Russell. I must admit, it is car crash TV, if you pardon my pun, and I absolutely love it. The WWE in Formula One, it's amazing.
yeah. Did you know we have a different show about that as well?
No, John, what's it called?
It's called Race in Review. I know, very original name. Go check it out. It's also on podcast services, of course. It hosts me and my dear friend James are two people doing that. And after the Grand Prix are done next week, we're diving into another game. We are diving into sim racing.
Wow.
So check out Race in Review, also the YouTube channel. If you're not only in FIFA, but also want to see more things we do. And that's why this week was so busy. Thank you so much. Again,
You mean?
thanks everyone for sending in your reviews. We absolutely love your reviews. It does help us, even if you can't, and we definitely understand that, not financially support us. Leave us a review. Take 2 minutes out of your time. Leave us a review because that will push people towards us. That will notify Spotify that you're tuning into a live show or to a video show, and they will send us more of these funny statistics. And of course, we just appreciate your feedback. We make this show not only for you, but with you as well. That means if you send in your feedback, like you did with the shorts, we take that in consideration and we'll just try to adapt again. So thank you so much for that. Hope everyone has a terrific weekend. I might be getting nauseous this weekend, Chris, because that's the one thing I will be doing. I got a new VR headset in.
Oh, nice.
And the last time I did VR headset, especially with sim racing, I got sick for 3 days. So let's see if it goes better with this new setup. I'll let you know next week's show.
Please do, mate.
All the best to Envy. And of
Yeah.
course, everyone, enjoy your weekend. That
Yeah,
leaves
great
us,
weekend,
Chris, with
folks.
just one thing left for us to do. And that is to
Drop it.
drop it.